Russia has said that it can turn Kiev into a giant melted spot if the West permits the use of long-range missiles. Senior security official Dmitry Medvedev, in a strongly worded message, said that Moscow had formal grounds to use nuclear weapons following Ukraine's incursion into Kursk, but could instead choose the new technologies to devastate the capital.
The war in Ukraine and fears of a wider conflict, President Biden and UK's Prime Minister met on Friday to discuss allowing the Ukrainian military to use long-range missiles to strike deep inside Russia. But Russian President Vladimir Putin is now warning of severe consequences if that happens.
Confirmed by Reuters, with the wire service quoting Ukrainian sources saying they hit an ammunitions warehouse. Evacuations have been occurring in the town of Toropets, which is around 380 kilometres from Moscow.
You just need to look at the footage of the apparent blast. I mean, we are talking about plumes of smoke and huge fires and the force to match. I mean, it's the kind of energy generated which caused NASA to report seeing numerous heat sources from satellite imagery. A minor magnitude earthquake was even reported in the surrounding area.
The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been pleading with allies for months to let his country fire long-range Western-made missiles deep into Russian territory. Until it's given the green light by Western countries, the Ukrainian military cannot hit those Russian targets. But the US and the UK appear increasingly open to lifting the restrictions, which prompted a warning from Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, saying that if Ukraine fired those weapons into Russian territory, he would consider the US and other NATO countries directly involved and therefore at war with Russia. His remarks signal he may be willing to escalate against the West in response, and some Western officials are concerned this could mean acts of sabotage against their infrastructure or possibly, Peter, NATO bases.
So these are certainly interesting times as Ukraine looks to try and take the war deeper inside Russia.
Vladimir Putin ordered the Russian army to become the second largest army in the world, only after China's, which is 1.5 million strong. I mean military, not just army. China and Russia holding the largest war game since the Soviet era, wrapping up a week of joint air and naval drills. The Russian Defense Ministry confirming another joint training operation will begin, including 90,000 troops, 400 warships and submarines, 120 aircraft across multiple oceans. The State Department sounding the alarm on Chinese support for Russia, saying Beijing has crossed a line, providing, quote, very substantial support to replenish the Kremlin's military stockpiles. Xi Jinping confirmed he is visiting Russia next month for the BRICS Economic Summit. This is his second visit since Russia invaded Ukraine. General, how nervous or scared should we be by the fact that China and Russia have serious plans? Okay, Russia says it wants to be the largest military behind China's. Now, we know that the U.S. is the largest military, but China is investing big time, as you've made the point many times.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The Congressional Commission and I was on for 20 months, bipartisan, delivered a report a few weeks ago that laid this out in some degree of detail. And the fact is that China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea collectively are presenting the most significant threat to the United States since we have faced in World War II. That's a heck of a statement to be making. And we believe we have the evidence to back it up. And here you're just displaying more of the evidence. They are dead serious. They have become more aggressive in the last 3 or 4 years. And why is that? Because they believe the United States is politically weak and can be taken advantage of. And they're seeking opportunity here. This exercise is obviously helping to train them in how they would actually fight together. But it's also sending a loud message to our allies and partners in the region that they are going to impose their will. And they have been doing that in the Indo-Pacific region. Obviously, Putin is doing it in Europe. Iran is doing it in the Middle East. We got to wake up. This is dead serious. This is a dangerous threat. It's real, and it's out there, and they're coming for us. And we've got to make certain that we're confronting them. And what do? We have defense budgets that are flatlined for inflation. Does that make any sense when we're so far behind in our capacity matched against theirs? It makes no sense. And the administration will not tell the American people how serious this threat really is.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced a program to re-equip its army and the navy. The troops will now receive samples of modern high-precision weapons and armored vehicles. This comes a day after he ordered to strengthen Moscow's army to 1.5 million active soldiers, increasing the number of active troops by around 180,000 soldiers. This move would make the Russian army the second largest in the world by active troop size. This is the third time Putin has ordered a troop boost since its invasion in 2022. As the Kremlin's Ukraine offensive continues, Putin has also said that the country is implementing a program of comprehensive re-equipment of the army and the navy. Putin said that the troops will receive samples of modern high-precision weapons and armored vehicles along with control and communication systems.
We are implementing a program of comprehensive re-equipment of the army and navy, which means that the troops will receive not individual but serial samples of modern high-precision weapons and armored vehicles, aviation, enemy detection and counter-battery system, control and communication systems.
Meanwhile, Putin's Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, has claimed that Kiev has fully prepared its victory plan to end the war with Russia. Zelensky had said last week that he plans to discuss the plans with the US President Joe Biden this month. Zelensky added that any freezing of the war or any other manipulations that will move the Russian aggression to another stage.
And today, we can already say that a plan for victory is fully prepared. All points, all key emphasis with details to the plan have been identified. Everything has been worked out. The most important thing now is the determination to implement it. There is and can be no alternative to peace, no freezing of the war or any other manipulations that will simply shift Russian aggression to another stage.
Well, Ukraine aims to host another international peace summit in November, to which Russia will be invited. More than 30 months into the war, the leaders' statements come as Ukraine controls parts of Russia's Kursk region and Moscow presses an advance into eastern Ukraine.
So keep your head up. Jesus is coming back. Jesus is coming back. No, don't you give